We're here today set for an adversary hearing in this matter. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Todd Alvey on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present, ready to proceed. We have Miss Lori Martinez, who's the investigator in this case, as the representative today.
Brooks Barfield ad litem for Brianna and Cameron, the children in the case.
All right, and also present today is the mother, Laura. Is it Laura Leah? Am I saying that right? Laura Leah?
Lorella.
All right, Lorella Kroll, Cash Kroll, a presumed father of Cameron, and Pedro Perez, that I show as a presumed father of Brianna. So the first thing we need to do is I need to talk with the parents. Okay, each of you has the right to have an attorney represent you in this matter. And if you qualify, I can appoint an attorney to represent you at no cost to you. But you do have to fill out the paperwork that has apparently been given to each of you and return that to the worker so that they can get that to my office so I can look at those and process those. So we have a couple choices today. You can certainly visit with Mr. Alvey, who represents the department, and or Mr. Barfield, who represents the children, and see if there's some agreement you all want to work out, or we can reset the case and you all can get me that paperwork and I can see if you qualify for attorneys. And you certainly can hire your own attorney. That's the other option. So I'm going to ask each of you what you would like to do. I'll start with Ms. Kroll. What would you like to do about that today?
I would like a chance to reset it so I can get the papers turned in. I've got them filled out, and so I can get them faxed or emailed to her today.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Kroll, what would you like to do?
I'd like the same, but I think I don't qualify because I make too much money.
It depends, sir. Kind of depends on your expenses. If you have other children you're supporting, that's why it's important that you fill all that out for me so I can look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
So it isn't all just about what your net income is. It's the big picture. I would suggest that you fill it out and let's take a look at it. If you don't qualify, I'll let you know immediately so you have an opportunity to retain an attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Fair enough. All right, and Mr. Perez, what would you like to do about this today?
I agree with the reset, although I do not have the paperwork for the attorney.
We'll make sure he gets that, Your Honor.
Okay. So, based on that, our next Armstrong County docket day is going to be July 26th. Does that get us? I'm not sure about the filing date and all that. So does that get us in under 28 days?
Carol, you might be the best one to answer that.
Yeah, this is the first setting. We haven't extended this yet, so I'm guessing it would be, but I just think we need to double check.
I think this was filed on June 30th, and
that's what I showed.
Yeah. So the 26th should be within that time period, Your Honor.
Okay, so and to the parents, that gives you all time to get this paperwork to me right away, meet with your attorneys, and certainly Mr. Kroll, that gives me an opportunity to look at yours and see whether you even qualify. So you'd have time to hire an attorney if you choose to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so we can reset the case to July 26th. Mr. Barfield, can you do that day?
Well, let me see. Let me look. Yeah, I should be able to. Yeah. 9 a.m. docket, Your Honor.
It'll be 9 a.m. It'll be, Miss Katie, is that the only thing we'll have?
No, Judge, you've got 2 other hearings that morning,
okay.
But it's not too heavy of a docket.
Okay. So it might not be right at 9.
Look at the docket.
If you've got a conflict that we need to try to set it at 9, we can talk about that.
No, ma'am. Right now, I don't see any conflicts, which is amazing.
Okay. All right, then, everybody, I will see everyone back then on the 26th of July. To the parents, the faster you all get that to me, the more time you're going to have to talk to your attorneys. So if you will get that back to the caseworker, if you can do that today, even better. And we will take a look at all that and let everybody know. Okay, until then, the order for protection is still in effect. I'll sign an order extending that. And I'll just be watching for everybody's paperwork.
Judge, you sound like a robot.
Is it doing that again?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Are you using the same headphones? I'm wondering if that's the problem.
Yeah, except that I had them on all day yesterday and all day the other day, and everything was fine. So is it still doing it?
Yep.
All right, let me disconnect and try to reconnect. We are here on status hearings in each case. We'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and Cam Williams is my permanency specialist today. And Your Honor, I think Melinda may be in the waiting room. She was wanting to be poured into that.
She is, okay.
And it looks like I just got a message that Mr. Jaquez is in the waiting room.
He is logged in. Yeah, get him in.
Jay Michelson for the respondent mother in both cases, and we are ready, and she's here.
Lucero on behalf of Miguel Contreras, Your Honor. We're present and ready. I know we have him as Contreras Flores, I believe, but I refer to him as Mr. Contreras, but we're both present and ready.
Okay, and I also showed that Mr. Jaquez is also present with us.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of the kids.
All right, then. What do we have new since the status report was filed?
Nothing new to my knowledge. Oh, except I did file Mr. Jaquez's family plan of service this morning.
Okay, and has it been signed?
Yes.
So have all plans been signed?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, when was the have the signed plans been filed in both cases?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen the one on the Contreras one yet. I looked this morning, but I didn't see that it's in there. Do you know what date they signed them on?
I can go back and look. I sent it to e-file last week. Kimberly and Miguel signed theirs on 7/5, and I sent it to be e-filed on 7/6.
And Mr. Jaquez signed his when?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. Thank you.
And let me just ask, Ms. Williams, have we made any headway with appointments for the kids in these dental issues?
Yes. Luis has had a follow-up appointment. He's had some of his cavities fixed, and the rest of them have been scheduled.
Okay.
And then Cedro has a follow-up appointment with his doctor for his cleft palate as well.
All right, good. All right, and all parents are cooperating at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Have any of them initiated any services yet?
Yes, Kimberly and Miguel have done 4 parenting classes at Hope Choice. They did those on their own before the family plan of service was made. They have scheduled their psychological Jennings counseling, and they'll be referred to individual counseling after that. And then Mr. Jaquez just signed his yesterday, and all I have on his right now is individual counseling and parenting classes, and then he wants virtual visits with O'Reilly.
Are we getting visitations set up and got all that coordinated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Sounds like we're off to the right start. Okay, Mr. Michelson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Williams, I didn't know if I heard you or not. Did both parents complete parenting classes?
They have completed 4 of them at Hope Choice, but they have an initial meeting with, or an orientation with Fatherhood Fire to complete those as well.
Okay, and the 15th through the 19th, they're scheduled for OSAR and psychological, correct?
I am sending the OSAR referral today. They shouldn't have heard anything about that yet, but they do have a psychological on the 19th.
Okay, great. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Lucero.
Ms. Williams, where are the kids placed?
Luis, Brady, Isidro, and Emily are with Holly and Bradley Oldham, and O'Reilly is with Tara Oldham and Madison Bull.
Okay, and is that local here in the area? Okay.
Yes, they're all
and, all right, and are the parents having visits at this time?
Yes.
Okay, and how often and for how long?
Once a week for 1 hour.
And in your opinion, if the parents, well, specifically Mr. Contreras, continues to do well in worker services, would the department or St. Francis consider increasing those visits, or would we need to come back to court to ask for that?
We would consider increasing them. The two younger children, Isidro and Emily, are the only two attending visits right now, but they're going well, and we could increase them if they continue with their services and continue communication with me.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, and Mr. Jaquez, do you have any questions or anything you want to talk about today? And you'll have to unmute.
¿Tiene alguna pregunta que le quiera hacer al juez?
Que si cuánto sería el proceso para poder yo tener la acidez que me da a mí.
Okay. He has a question, and he says that how long would it take if he wants to take the full custody of Raleigh?
Well, that's a complicated question. Mm-hmm. Has he filled out paperwork to see if he qualifies for court-appointed attorney?
Oh, we have not.
Okay. He really should do that. I can't give him legal advice. Okay. So that's a hard question for me to answer. So I think he really needs to fill out that paperwork. Ms. Williams, has he been given that paperwork?
I didn't know if Lisa had given it to him when she made contact, but I can find it and send it to him.
Okay. Let's get that to him. Okay. He can fill all that out and then return it to Ms. Williams.
Okay.
And I'll see if he qualifies for an attorney. And if he does, I can appoint an attorney that can better answer those kinds of things for him.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
All right. If you want to go ahead and explain that to him.
Okay. Dice que nos van a mandar un papeleo, como una aplicación, por así decirlo, para poder hacer un caso abierto, nomás para que usted pelee la custodia de Arali. Y dijo que la señora con la que hemos hablado, ella nos va a mandar el papel y ya de ahí ella va a hablar. A ver cuándo y cómo se podría hacer.
Okay. And then we will also make the notation that we probably should have an interpreter available for him.
Okay.
So we'll have someone in court proceedings that can interpret for him just in case no one's available. Okay.
Dijo que van a buscar a alguien que esté en corte para que le traduzca usted siempre.
Does he have any other questions or anything he wants to talk about today?
I'm sorry?
Does he have any other questions or anything that he needs to talk about today?
Que si tiene alguna pregunta o algo de lo que quiera hablar el día de hoy.
Solo que sí, ella está bien.
He wants to know if Arali is all right, because we haven't known nothing about her, if she's okay or not.
Okay, Ms. Williams, I think that the answer is I think she's fine, but I'm going to let Ms. Williams talk about that.
Yeah, she's doing really good. We're working on getting her back in school, and she's doing good, living with Tara and Madison.
I did not hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. She's doing really good.
Que está muy bien. Thank you.
Okay. They're working on getting her back in school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Ms. Vala.
Ms. Williams, the three older children at this time are stating that they don't want to participate in visitation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the two younger ones have been the ones attending. It's my understanding that Ms. Contreras was a no-show for the most recent visit. Is that correct?
She was sick. Sorry, I don't remember what happened. She had strep.
Okay. And that was the visit that they were scheduled to celebrate Isidro's birthday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Has there been any communication? It's my understanding that she was out of communication for pretty much that whole week. Is that correct?
I was in communication with her, but I don't know about between her and placement.
Aurelie is needing to be registered for school. She's been out of school for 4 years. Is that right?
Yes.
So we're running into some roadblocks and getting her back into school and in a place where she can catch up.
Yes,
I'm sorry, you got to answer out loud. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's my understanding that mom was refusing to give her social security number to placement so that they could register for her for school, but that you may now have that information.
I do. I didn't know that placement didn't have that information, but I do have her social security number.
We have about a month before school starts for her, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we may need to jump through some really big hoops to try to see if we can get her in North Heights or someplace else where she can make up a whole lot of schoolwork in a short amount of time. You and I have talked a little bit about trying to bring in some potential experts like people at DFPS that have the education coordinator, and we're going to be working on doing that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But is it safe to say that the next month is really critical in getting that resolved for her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass once.
All right, then. Anybody have anything further today?
Judge, I would just like to say that I never refused giving any social security number. No, I was never asked for her social. The last time I was asked for it, I was advised by Lisa that if they needed anything concerning the children, that they needed to reach out to the caseworker, not to me. That was my understanding.
Okay. Well, they've got everything now, so just be sure, be timely and responsive to their calls or text messages. That's all you can do. Okay, then.
Judge, real quick, could we ask for drug screens? I think the only one we're worried about on that is mom. If we could order drug screens today.
Okay. You want hair and UA?
Yes, ma'am.
Going to order Ms. Contreras to submit to hair and UA drug testing today before 4 p.m. You need to be there, in advance of 4 o'clock. I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court. And particularly, if you don't mind to translate for Mr. Jaquez. So the service plans are important. Those need to be worked. And failure to work those plans could mean the children don't go home, or it could mean termination of parental rights.
Ok, dice que ya ve que le mandaron una hoja que tiene que hacer usted unas clases. Dijo ella que es muy importante que las haga por la razón de que si usted no hace esas clases, y porque tienen que ser ciertas horas o ciertas clases, si usted no las hace, los niños no pueden volver a su casa. Arali no va a poder volver ya sea que usted pelee por la custodia o que vuelva con la mamá. Entonces necesita hacer esas clases. He knows he has to do them. The thing is that we are in New Mexico, so I don't know if we will have to look a place to take them here, or if we will have to do them online with y'all.
It could be a combination of those things, but Ms. Williams will help you with that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
And Your Honor, just one follow-up thing. St. Francis may be working on this, but I do think it would be helpful to have the children do some counseling. I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, particularly the older children that are declining visits right now. So I assume we will have them all involved in counseling before too long.
And they are all doing very well in placement.
Okay. All right. So I also find that there's a continuing danger to the children's health, safety, and well-being, and that it's not feasible to return them home today. We'll continue to work with parents and services And our next hearing will be November 14th of 2023. And back in, Mr. Michael, 9 o'clock docket.
Thank you. I just sent the signed temporary order to Mr. Trout. I don't know if he received it yet.
I did. I'm printing it off right now.
Okay.
Okay.
And Ms. Medellin had a couple of questions or proposals that she wanted to ask of the court, and otherwise she would agree to the temporary orders.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and call the case, and we are here on our adversary hearing. We'll go ahead and take everyone's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and Ismar Pineda-Torrada is my caseworker today, investigator.
Jay Michelson on behalf of Luz Medellin, respondent mother. She is here and we are ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the child.
Okay, so Mr. Trout, if you want to go ahead and announce at least what is agreed, and then we'll field whatever questions Ms. Medellin has, and talk about Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, we've agreed to the department having temporary managing conservatorship of the child, and that mom will eventually work services. We're not asking for any child support or medical support at this time.
All right, Mr. Michelson, that's you and your client's agreement with, I understand there may be a couple questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, and let's go ahead and take up what questions or concerns she has.
Sure.
See if we can deal with that.
Sure. Luz would like placement of her child with her brother, Randy Medellin. He's a DPS supervisor. He's building a home. He's living in a temporary home while that's being built. Apparently, it has enough room for her son. She feels he would be capable to take care of her child. That was her concern. The second issue is because the child is an infant, she asked that visitation be 2 hours a week so that there isn't any issues with bonding with the child if the child's returned to her.
Okay, I don't see any problem with the visitation. We typically will do that with an infant. And Ms. Medellin, I'll just tell you, I mean, the faster you get going on services and show us you really, want to make these changes, we'll step up that visitation. So, all right, so let me go back. Mr. Michelson, you said her brother is a supervisor for?
Department of Public Safety.
Okay, for DPS, okay.
Yes.
And Ms. Trotter, do you all have his name and information?
I do. I do have his identifying information.
Have we done any kind of just quick background check on him?
Not just yet. We are in the process because that's someone she listed on the child caregiver resource form. So we're in the process of requesting that home study.
Okay. Ms. Medellin, is he married? Does he have any children? And you'll have to unmute for me.
He is not married, but he does have a spouse. And he actually works at JBS. I'm sorry. He probably misheard me. I'm sorry about that. No, you're fine.
All right, JBS. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But, okay. Does he have a common law wife? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And does she lives in the home, and do they have any children?
They have one son.
What is the age of that son?
He is 1 year old.
Okay. And have you spoken with them about this?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
And they're more than willing to do this?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Okay. Okay, so what we have to do is what we call an expedited home study so that the department can gather some information. Do they both speak English?
Yes, okay. Ma'am, they both do.
Okay, I mean, it just so we know how we need to communicate with them. Okay, then I'll order the expedited home study on the brother. And, Ms. Medellin, do you have any idea? Does he have any, either one of them have any kind of history with CPS?
No, they do not.
Okay, any criminal history?
No, not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. So in all likelihood, the home study will pass. I mean, I understand they're in maybe a temporary living situation, but that may be okay. If for some reason that is not, once they get moved, then clearly we could look at that again. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been in the home where they currently live?
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about it?
Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom. It could be a 3-bedroom, but the other room is basically an office. Okay. It's a nice house. It's
so plenty of room for another baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we'll do the expedited home study on them.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
You bet. Those usually take about 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes. Isa told me.
Okay. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Michelson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trout. We need to do a little bit regarding Mr. Hernandez.
I believe so, Your Honor. I don't believe there's been any contact with him. So.
Okay. All right. Who's going to testify?
Ismail Pineda. How did the department become involved in this case?
We received a referral on May 31st regarding some concerns that Ms. Medellin had tested positive for cocaine on her urine analysis while the baby had tested negative.
Okay. And was meconium collected at that time?
Yes.
Were you able to meet with Ms. Medellin?
I was.
And the mother's name is, as we said, Luz Elia Medellin?
Yes.
Did you meet with her at the hospital?
Yes.
Did she speak to you about the allegations of the drug screens?
Yes.
And did she admit that she had been using during the pregnancy?
Yes.
Did she tell you how much or how often?
Yes. She admitted that she had used towards the ending of her pregnancy, that she had used once to twice a month.
Okay. Did the department attempt to prevent removal by other means?
Yes.
And what was that?
We were able to get a safety plan in place, and we were looking at sending the case over to family-based safety services. However, that safety plan was violated.
Okay. So with the safety plan, she was staying with, was it a sister?
Yes.
And sisters are from out of town?
Yes. Well, yes, from Dallas.
Okay. But they had an apartment here in Canyon, I believe it was?
Yes.
How did they violate the safety plan?
The department wasn't notified until a week later that she was no longer staying there with her sister. Okay.
And where is she going?
From speaking to Ms. Medellin afterwards, she let me know that she was staying with her mother.
Okay.
Since then.
During your conversations with Ms. Medellin, did she tell you who she thought the father of this child was?
Yes.
And who was that?
She listed Lorenzo Hernandez.
Okay. And do we have any contact information or do we know where he is?
No, we do not. Ms. Medellin did say that he was living in Mexico, and I did request a finder search on him, and there's no records found for him.
Okay. Now, I was reading a report that was filed 2 days ago. Has she now given you another name of a possible father?
Yes.
And what is that name?
I believe his name is Luis Marquez.
Okay. Do you have any contact information or identifying information on him?
The only information Ms. Medellin did give is that he lives in Stratford, but no other contact or locating information. I did request an accurate search on him yesterday, and I did get those results back. I just have yet to review them.
Okay.
Ms. Trout, what was the name again? I'm sorry.
Luis Marquez.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. And Judge, we will be filing an amendment on this case in order to plead him in also until we get this attorney. But we just found out about this yesterday.
Okay.
So after safety plan was violated, did y'all work to try to set another type of safety plan or find another supervising party?
Yes.
And were you able to come up with anything?
Not with a successful safety plan, no.
Okay. Was it at that time, due to the mother's admitting to drug use during the pregnancy, during violating the safety plan and not notifying anybody that it had been violated, and unable to set up any other sort of safety plan, was it determined to remove the child for the child's safety?
Correct.
And the department believed that that was in the child's best interest?
Yes.
How is the child doing now?
I believe he's doing well. Speaking with placement, he seems like he was doing really well. Whenever I placed him in the home, he was doing well.
How has Ms. Medellin been doing?
I believe she's doing well as well. She's motivated from what I can tell from speaking to her. And I think she really wants to move forward with her classes and get Aurelio back.
Do you believe that it was in the best interest of the child to remove?
Yes, I do.
I'll pass the excuse me. Are you asking, is the department asking today for temporary managing conservatorship? I know Ms. Medellin's already agreed, but in regards to the father or possible fathers asking for a temporary managing conservatorship at this time?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Michelson, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Zavala?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Let me ask Mr. Trout, did mom give any indicators? I mean, has either named father been involved with the child at all?
No. When she spoke with me about Lorenzo Hernandez, she did tell me that they were together, and then towards the end of her pregnancy is when he left. And so he's had no contact with the child whatsoever. And it wasn't until yesterday or the day before that she notified me about Luis Marquez.
Okay, same thing. Really, no
contact,
no involvement, no contact.
Correct.
Okay, and I mean the child is very young. Okay. All right. And we just don't really know very much about either one of them.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Trout, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Does the department rest?
Department rest.
Okay, Mr. Michelson, anything you need to present today?
Nothing that's already been stated. So we would rest.
All right. And Ms. Zavala, do you have any evidence to present today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and do you have a recommendation?
Yes, it is my recommendation that the child remain in the temporary managing conservatorship of the department. He's doing well in placement, has experienced some shaking, but is doing well. I'm looking forward for the expedited home study and hope that turns out. But I do believe all of that would be in the child's best interest.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, then. At this time, I am going to find the evidence is sufficient, as well as mom's agreement, to name the department as temporary managing conservator of the child. I'm going to find that there's a continuing danger to the child's health, safety, and welfare, and that reasonable efforts were made to avoid the removal of the child, that there would be a danger to return the child to the mother at this time, or to either named father that we have very, very little information about and have no relationship with the child. Mother will work services, and I'm not going to order any child support or medical support at this time, that with respect to mother. Mom can have 2-hour weekly visits right now. And obviously St. Francis is welcome to advance that as she makes progress with her services. Obviously, I'm not going to order any kind of support or medical support for either alleged father. And of course, one we haven't even pled in, but at this time. And our next hearing is scheduled August 29th of 2023. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Ms. Medellin, that doesn't mean it'll be right at 9. I start my morning docket at 9. But Mr. Michelson, I'll make sure you know what time to log in, and your caseworker at the time will tell you that. So between now and then, they're going to sit down with you. They're going to develop what they call a service plan, and it'll be in writing and spelled out what everybody was wanting you to do and will expect you to do. We'll talk more about that service plan at our next hearing. But you don't have to wait until the next hearing to get started. So as soon as you want to get started on some of these things, I encourage you to do that. Let's hit the ground running. This is your first child, right? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. And I have also already started my classes.
Okay, good for you. You know, you're young, first baby. Let's get this ship turned around and make sure we don't find ourselves here again. You know, I mean, you can make these changes, and easier to do it now than later. So, you know, please try to view everybody that's involved in this as, you know, we are your friends. You know, we're here to try to help you. We are not the enemy. Everybody here wants you to succeed. And so I can't tell you, we all love happy endings. And unfortunately, we don't get to see as many of them as we would like to see. But, you know, you can be one of our very happy success stories, and we want that. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Then I'll see everybody back on the August 29th. Mr. Michelson, thank you all for working it out. I appreciate it.